What is up? It's Dakota Layden here from Destination Fear, and you are listening to the Paranormal Zone.
A ghostly apparition in the dark of night.
Human sacrifice, dogs and cats living together, mass hysteria.
Hey there, fellow zoners and ponderers of the paranormal. You're in the Paranormal Zone, your weekly dose of all things, you guessed it, paranormal, strange, and mysterious. My name is Patrick Koffenberg, and I am joined, as always, thankfully, by my co-host with the ghosts, the paranormal poster boy himself, the
pasty white ghosty
Mike Carbno. Yes, the soundboard is back, so I hope I'm not going to drive everyone nuts. But, Mike, it is good to see you in all of your physical glory.
Yes, so, I'm physically here.
He is physically here. And now he's adjusting everything. Everything sounded and looked good.
My camera just fell a little bit. I need a different camera.
The moment we start recording, Mike starts shifting and moving things around. It's like, what are you doing? Everything sounded good.
It does sound good.
Well, maybe.
Sounds better ever since my microphone stand broke, and now I use my Spock mug. Fits in there great.
I know, it's perfect. I've seen that too. It's a perfect snug little fit.
It's a snug little mug for my mic.
And you know what? Mic. We don't have to worry about your microphone falling in mid-recording.
Yeah, that was kind of funny.
Because Spock is there to the rescue. So
yeah.
But Mike, it's good to see you. It's been forever, it seems, since we've recorded a new episode. Last week we didn't get around to recording one. We had a busy weekend of paranormal excursions. We're going to talk all about it. And I released a Patreon exclusive episode for our listeners last Monday, so it's been 2 weeks or so. I feel rusty. I feel like we need to get back in the saddle here. Smooth things out.
There's a very famous man once that was rusty, and this little girl and the scarecrow came along, and they found the oil can because the man that was rusty was making these little squeaky sounds. That's all he could do because his jaw wouldn't move because it was rusted shut because he was out there chopping down a tree one day, and it started to rain. God, Patrick, quit shaking your head. And then later they found a lion, but no tigers and bears. Oh my. He just indulges me in my witticism.
Igor, did you miss Mike's lame attempts at humor?
No.
Okay.
No. Neither did I.
And it wasn't lame at all. I'm just kidding.
Because I'm not funny. Well, I'm not funny on the show anyway, but when I'm not on the show, boy, I'm just a stick in the freaking mud.
What the hell are you talking about, man? What are you talking about? That reminds me, by the way, watching some of this newly rediscovered footage of our own from back in 2007, our very amateur indulgences into investigating the paranormal, and
I
just
had a
having
dark red beard at that time.
Kind of, I don't know what was going on there, but
now it's Santa Claus white. But anyway,
and filming, just sitting back, having a good time as well. And, intermingled with all our paranormal stuff. First and foremost, I love it.
Yeah.
Secondly, it's cringeworthy at times.
Absolutely.
Thirdly, it's hilarious at times. And fourthly, I shake my head at how dumb we were at some points. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm saying that with love.
It was all part of the process.
Of course. I mean, we're still amateur investigators when it comes to
we
the
always
paranormal.
will be, and we
Yes.
will never purport to be anything else.
Right, exactly. Our old business cards, Mike, in giant bold letters, non-profit. We wanted to make that
Yep.
very clear. I don't know if we had amateur on the business cards as well.
I don't know.
I don't think.
Well, here.
Oh yeah, Mike's got them on
I've-
hand actually. The old para business cards. I hate calling them business because we weren't necessarily a business. They're
No.
almost like promo cards. Just we handed them out around town and people were experiencing the paranormal. Call on us.
Yeah, it says
That's still my cell
Okay.
number on there, by the way.
para. Then underneath it says, the Paranormal Anomaly Research Associates, a nonprofit team covering north central Minnesota. Well, we kept it pretty local.
We did. Well, how the hell are we going to travel? I mean, come on.
Yeah, no kidding. Paranormal experience? Question mark. Evidence? Question mark. Need help? Question mark.
Need help. What?
Contact us at ghost.search@gmail.com.
What? Well, you just gave away my current email address to
Well,
the
you could have
masses.
said, "Hey, that's my old email address."
No, I just said that's my same cell number on there too. So please don't read that out loud.
218. Oh no, that's just the area code. Everybody's got that one in Minnesota.
But man, what the hell did we mean by need help? How in God's name
I
are
don't
we
know.
going
You
to
came up with
help
that
people?
shit. I didn't know. I had nothing to do with it.
I did. Yeah.
No, I think we talked about it. We went through a lot with these cards. I mean, figuring out what we wanted on there.
Absolutely.
Going behind North Star there, the place of business and
Oh
they had
yeah. The printing
the
facility.
printing shop right behind there.
Yeah,
Had
it was.
500 of them made up, and we still got a ton of them.
We still have 499.
Yeah. No, they're here. We have a nice little stack left.
And this is pertinent to our topic for today. This episode is going to be titled Our Ghost Adventures because we're going to be talking about any and all things, obviously paranormal, but related to our personal experiences. And, whoa, I just lost my headphones went out there. Hello, headphones. Don't stop working on me. Yeah,
Our
talking about
Ghost
our
adventures. Sans Zach.
Yeah, thank you for making that clear. This does not involve Zach Baggins or any member of the Ghost Adventures
It would be great
crew.
if it did, though.
Oh, it'd be awesome. It'd be absolutely awesome. So we're going to go back to the
Like him or
days
hate
when...
him, it'd still be great to spend some time with him.
And Mike's on his top of his interrupting me game today.
Yeah.
So it's going to be good. This is a rare Sunday afternoon recording. We're going to talk about all things paranormal, as I said, and related to our own personal experiences and our own personal ghost hunting extravaganzas, I guess. Going back to the days when Mike was a wee little baby in his diapers. Well, maybe not that far, but...
Paranormal ghost hunting antics.
There you go. Ghost hunting antics. Now, I had a point. Oh, yeah, going back to our card there. Our business card. Our I'm doing this in air quotes, ladies and gentlemen. Our name was Para. P.A.R.A. Now, what did Para stand for? Mike, you got the cards right in front of you.
I do. That was Paranormal Anomaly Research. What was it? Associates?
Associates.
Yeah.
And
So
I bring that up because I want to make clear that there isn't any confusion about our Twitter pages. The podcast page is at Paranomaly Zone, capital P-A-R-A, anomaly zone. We also have a separate ghost investigating Twitter page in reference to what Mike was just talking about, and that is called Paranomaly Z, not Zone, but it's obviously in reference to Para, our old ghost hunting duo. So we want you guys to follow both pages. We'd love to see you there. Again, at Paranomaly Zone and at Paranomaly Z. Love to see you there. I bring that up because our ghost hunting page, every day we get about at least 5-10 new followers, it seems. And I'm like, come on over to the podcast page. And I don't know if people are thinking that's the podcast page Twitter handle. So I wanted to make that clear. So I got that out of the way. Are you okay, Mike?
It's confused me for years.
Mike's still confused. I
Yeah.
know, and he's part of it. He can't tell the
yesterday
difference.
Patrick and I were trying to get it all straightened out in my head, and boy, it wasn't going far.
Oh, and that was the Facebook page, for God's sakes.
Yeah, well, but that was after a day of no, that was after a few days of
Pain.
too much. And then Patrick put that on me, and I'm like, God damn it.
Well, we won't go into that,
Yeah.
but we'll clear
But
that
I-
up when we're done recording here, Mike. We'll get that.
I can't
figured out.
help that my dog just about killed me now. And I know I just walked all over you, but
That's okay.
I had to say that before.
It's okay. Add that
Yeah.
to your.
Not like she attacked me. She's, she pure love, but after she hurt me, you could tell she felt bad.
Oh,
You can. She's a very sensitive dog, but God dang it, she's too strong for me.
so to wrap up the shameless social media plugs, we
Yes.
do have the Facebook page. All of our pages are all called Paranormally Zone. So if you want to find us and follow us, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, just type in Paranormally Zone and it'll take you right to our page. We'd love to see you guys there. There's
And
something
if you
weird
could-
going
oh,
on
sorry.
with that Facebook page, Mike, because we're not going to pull back the curtain here and bore everyone to death. But the fact that you're having problems finding it and interacting with it, and me with you
I
from
did
the
a search
podcast
for it, and
page,
it wouldn't come up.
it makes me wonder something is funky with our Facebook page because years ago it grew, by leaps and bounds, and it got to a really, a nice solid number for beginning the page and stuff, and it has stopped. It is not. We never get new Facebook followers ever, and I don't know
That's
why.
not right.
I don't know why. Hey guys, if you want to follow us on Facebook, give us a shot. Just type in Paranormally Zone. It's 2 words. Well, maybe make it 1 word, but and see what pops up. You should find us. So I think something's up with the Facebook page because I don't remember the last time we got a new follower on there. So maybe it's
that's
just because
not
we
right.
suck, but I don't know.
I know. I know we're not that pathetic. We'd probably
Right.
get somebody along the way that
One or two,
even by mistake, we should get at least one.
you would think exactly. Like, what the hell is this? They stumbled across
I'm
us by
glad that
accident.
guy pushed the wrong button.
Exactly. So something's weird there. Something's weird. And I wanted to clear up the Paranormally Z and Paranormally Zone. Again, briefly, podcast page, Paranormally Zone, ghost hunting page, Paranormally Z.
Yeah.
Enough of that crap. Okay, Mike, let's talk our ghost adventures. We had a fun time last weekend.
We did.
I made a trek to go visit you in, again, all of your physical glory. And I want to say that it was a great day. That, of course,
It rained a bit, but
it
was still-
did, but that added to the atmosphere, I think.
Well, the places we went were absolutely fantastic. I wanted us to get to the cemetery here in town where I live. We did that. We did a little bit of walking around. It was, very interesting. Bonanzaville.
Yes, that's the
In
one that I wanted
Fargo.
to talk about for a bit here.
Got a lot to talk about that. It was just a really good day.
Very good day. And wrapped
Fort
it up.
Abercrombie.
Thank you for saying that. Yep, wrapped it up with a visit to Fort Abercrombie, which was, awesome. Just, I love walking around places like that, though, and just
Yeah, you can't beat it.
absorbing
though
the
there's-
history,
Yeah, even though not all the buildings are there still. They are remodeling. They're putting a lot of work into it, and they're rebuilding some things. But yeah, you think of the history there. The fighting and the people dying, and just part of everything that not that we glorify and people dying, but boy, the after
No.
effects of that we
But, it's a term that we may overuse, but
exactly.
you almost feel the energy if you allow yourself
Yeah.
to just kind of, maybe kind of meditate a bit, and just kind of
Yeah.
sink into the atmosphere, so to speak. And it's just like you just remember, or you imagine, I should say,
Imagine.
everything that happened there, and so it's pretty incredible. It was a good end to the day. And my day personally, though, when I returned to the hotel, pissed the living shit out of me.
Yeah.
I won't bore anybody with details, but a lot of my equipment, if not all of it, in my little ghost hunting bag got soaked with some liquid that will go unnamed. It was ridiculous. I was so frustrated and mad.
Now people are going to think that you peed in your back seat. Or
Yeah, I
something.
had an accident. Sorry, everybody. I had an accident. No, okay. Well, I'll be honest. I don't care. We're honest with our listeners. We love all you guys. No, I get to the hotel and I'm like, okay, I had my little stash, my stash, like my little 12er or some Coors because I wanted to get back to the hotel, start putting everything on the laptop, and damn it, I'm going to crack open a beer. But I didn't want to carry in the
Right.
the beer, all of it. I didn't want to walk through the lobby and all that shit looked like an idiot. So I was like, I'm going to grab a few cans and put it in my bag. What harm can happen in that? It's like a 20-yard walk from the parking lot to my room. Everything's safe and sound, right? No. Anyways, when I went to unopen the bag and grab all of my equipment, well, it was all basically floating in beer. So it was.
Well, you shouldn't have been hopping
lovely.
like a kangaroo between your car and the hotel room.
Damn it, I know. I couldn't
Shakes
help
you
myself.
up,
I was so excited to get back to the hotel room. I was just skipping away and hopping
You
around.
should see him get some height.
Hey.
He's about, well, when Patrick gets about 5 inches off the ground, that's
It was
hop, skip, and a jump there.
So far, though, I lucked out. I checked my camera. I checked the thermal. Everything's working.
Yeah.
The only thing that was dead immediately was my phone charger. So then that still doesn't work.
At least that's the easiest replaced of all of them.
Yeah. So, I mean, it was frustrating, though. And like I texted Mike immediately, and of course he sardonically replies, well, at least you're taking it well. No, I wasn't.
Yeah, it's like when I was explaining to you what my dog did to me over the last couple of days. It's like, well, at least you still have your health. The first thing that came to mind was, I won't mention that either.
No, it was.
But I did reply with, yeah, that's a good joke, but not today.
Not today. I felt kind of bad, but I can't help myself. I was like,
God.
well, at least you got your health. And then I go,
If you would have
wait.
physically seen me at that moment, you wouldn't have wanted to be here.
By the way, Mike, and some of that footage that we rediscovered stuff, I've had that hang up for my whole life, obviously, and back in the day too, because when we were up in the loft and we were like being filmed because we were going to do those
up in the attic and
the attic, I should say, and we're taking those shots because we wanted to have the air quotes again, professional shots for a ghost hunting duo. And of course,
we're talking camera shots, not
camera shots,
liquor shots.
Yeah, camera shots, and of course, in the video, you refer to me, oh, my little friend. And I'm like, oh, thanks. You had to call me little, didn't you?
Yeah, that was back in the day when I was very flippant about Patrick's sensitivity. Oh, you bald little man.
Oh, goddamn. That was pretty good.
I never said anything like that.
Yeah, and you said that
he's
when I
not
had...
bald and he's not little.
Well.
But he thinks so in his mind.
Yeah. I prefer to say minuscule. Maybe that's...
Yeah. Yeah, we want to be politically correct here.
Okay, Mike, Bonanzaville. Briefly describe what Bonanzaville is, what it's all about. Because I think we had some pretty interesting captures, including a potential EV flippin' P.
Yes.
So let us know what Bonanzaville is.
It's an awesome place. I mean, it's been there. I don't know when they started putting it together decades ago. I mean, many, many years ago. My mom actually worked there for a little while in the 70s, 80s, I think. But anyway, it's a town that's set up from the 1800s. It's got buildings that have been transported in from other towns in North Dakota, small little towns. All these buildings are from like the turn of the century, the 1920s, the teens,
including 1800s. Including a building that was the very first house ever built
in Fargo. Exactly.
And that's the one that I felt really weird in when I walked.
Yeah, you had some pretty interesting effects in there.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it's turned into just a beautiful little Western town, basically. It's got everything represented, like the post office, the store, the church, the
bank,
courthouse, everything.
The bank, the pharmacy, yeah,
everything. And
Mike froze up a little bit.
Historical meaning there, but So you pay your $10. You can go in there, and you can walk around this town, go into all the buildings that are all set up as they were originally, and there actually are reports of hauntings going on in these buildings. It's I think, it's every October, and I think they started doing it in September as well, where they have ghost tours that you pay for. They furnish the equipment, and they tour you around, and they take you to the places that are supposedly haunted.
Yeah, and this is obviously, these stories have been passed around so often that, I mean,
Right.
Bonanzaville is kind of jumping on this haunted idea. I mean, they're actually,
Right.
as you said, Mike, they're providing tours. So, I mean, I don't know if it's,
Yeah.
if you look at it as kind of gimmicky or not, but I mean, there are
Oh.
people have experienced legit things at these buildings.
Right. It's the thing. I mean, they do this because they know of the great interest, and they're booked. I mean, they were only doing it in October, but then they decided to add September on as well. I think it was last year or the year before. Well, not during COVID, they didn't do it, but it costs like $50, but people do it, and they're booked every year.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, it was, I mean, just because we were on a tight schedule, you know, we didn't even get to look at what 1/3 of the buildings there. It seems like,
right. Yeah.
maybe even less.
If you want to really, really do it well, you need a couple of days for sure. A good couple of full days.
And if you're a fan of history and stuff, it's such a cool place.
Yeah, and they got like an air museum in there, a huge building with as an air museum. They got a car museum there that's huge. It's just fantastic.
And, you know, as longtime listeners know, I'm a Titanic buff, and there's even a Titanic connection in there, believe
There
it or
is.
not. It was,
Yeah.
you know, there was a beautiful old piano / organ that was behind these old original stained glass.
Beautiful
Partitions.
huge, like 20 feet tall and
They're just
30 feet
gorgeous.
long, wide.
And, you know, long story short, the Titanic connection is that those stained glass displays were donated from a wife whose husband had passed away in the Titanic wreck. They
Right.
both sailed back
Yeah.
to New York, obviously, and her husband unfortunately passed away. She survived, and that's the connection.
Wasn't she pregnant as well?
You know what? I don't
I
know,
thought I saw that she was pregnant as well,
but that's
at
a
the
pretty
time.
neat little connection there. And I mean, that museum was awesome too. And just like when you walk in there, the ambience itself is just like something's cool in here. You know, this is the history.
Awesome
And,
gift shop before you go in.
you know, and we believe in spiritual. I'm talking about like the paranormal spiritual here. Spiritual connections or things being attached. You know, maybe you know, attachments to particular objects. Maybe that's the feeling that, you know, people like you or I get when we get in there, when we walk into places like that. It's like,
Well, in a place like that, that's, you know, the museum, you're getting attachments from, I mean, every aspect of North Dakota history from that time. I mean, the native, everything that they used, and weapons and the tools and the cooking and all that is there on display. Things that were found in North Dakota. You know, each room had different sections of just full of antiques that were representing a certain thing. I mean,
wasn't there
with
also
that-
like a bison vertebrae or bison bone with with an arrowhead
with
still
an
stuck in
arrowhead
it?
stuck in it. Absolutely. Just really interesting. But you think of the connections and the ties that could be and the emotions with a lot of those things.
Yep.
You know, and then with each building that you go in out in the town, you know, even if there isn't the objects in there, those walls are original walls over decades of living and life and tragedy and death and, you know, anything that goes with a family during that time. And that energy is there. You can feel it.
Oh, 100%. And, you know, I also want to say, man, some of that some of that architecture and some of those, when you walk in, these old houses are just beautiful.
Yeah.
It's just like, oh my gosh, I want to just, and you can't touch anything, obviously. You can't sit down in the awesome furniture, which is awesome. Let's preserve them as much as you can. But there is, you can explore quite a bit of the houses. You definitely can. But they're just beautiful. And I wanted to focus, Mike, on two particular spots.
Right.
The courthouse and the church.
Yes.
Oh, no, I'm changing my mind. Three spots.
I was just going to say, the first house in Fargo.
The first house built in Fargo, the courthouse, and the church. Now, let's start with the first house that was built in Fargo. Now it's the transported house. And I believe the info was that it was originally built in the 1860s. And then it was torn down or destroyed and then rebuilt again in 1893. I believe that's what it said on there. So the building we were in was the 1893 building.
Which I remember that house before they moved it to Bonanzaville. I remember that house being there, and I remember driving by it with mom and dad when I was a little kid, and they'd point out, "Oh, there's the first house in Fargo," and it was all sided. You couldn't, everything. You could tell it was old, but the way it is set up in Bonanzaville, it's all original. It's down to the log cabin. It's all original.
That old stove in there was awesome.
Oh, absolutely. But right away when you walked in, it's just like something hit you. And go ahead and explain that.
I mean, it's unexplainable. We filmed ourselves doing a spirit box session in there. We filmed ourselves doing EVP sessions in there in the church, and obviously this house, the courthouse, which all the stuff is available on Patreon. I want to get I gotta get that cheap plug out of the way. We have a ton of stuff that we've been adding to Patreon. 350 posts now, Mike. We're up to 350.
It's actually getting better.
Oh,
as we say, it's going to be good.
I'm kind of proud of it. You know what? I mean, there's tons of awesome video stuff on there. I know we get comments like when we post a YouTube video and people say, it's so good to see you guys and stuff. Well, you want to see us even more, check us out on Patreon. And right now, for a limited time, for the next couple weeks, you can sign up for full access to Patreon for $3 a month. So you can still sign up for $1 a month.
Yeah,
absolutely. Right. You sign up for $1, you get access to all of our Patreon exclusive episodes and all of our old Alternate Route podcast archived episodes. Just a ton of stuff on there for $1.
Yeah.
If you want access to
a good deal.
Everything, you can sign up for the next couple of weeks for $3 a month, and you can see everything. Everything there is available.
Even if it's garbage and you don't like it, geez, it's only $3.
And no obligations. You can try it out.
No obligation.
You can try it out for a month, and if you don't like it, and say, see you later. But
hey, and you know what? If you try it out for a month, hey, we love you. I mean,
100%. 100%.
And if it doesn't work for you, we still love you.
Yep. And there's just more and more stuff that's going to be added. I'm going to add some more stuff later today. We added footage from Bonanzaville, obviously. I'll be adding Fort Abercrombie. Some of the stuff we captured in the courthouse, again.
Yes.
Bizarre. We're
not done with the first house.
No, we're not. We're not though. But I'm still in Patreon plug mode here.
Got it. Okay, sorry.
There's stuff that there's one particular potential EVP that I'm still scratching my head. You're scratching your head. I had Bridget listen to it, and she immediately she goes like, "Play that again." And I played it for her multiple times, and she's like, "It sounds like you, but it's not you."
Right. Right.
It's just really weird. I don't know. I don't think it's me. The voice sounds too low to be me.
I don't think it's you, and I also think that, it's like It's like something that we would say.
Yeah.
I mean, it's something like what I would say. It fit the
conversation. It fit the conversation that we were having. It did.
But the thing is that it's like it's happened before in that house that I lived in Park Rapids, where that third voice
is right there.
Pops in.
Yep.
That's a lot like this one. And it reminded me of that. It's like a third person there in the conversation. They're standing with us and commenting on what we were experiencing or what we were seeing there. And
Absolutely. It's just really weird. I mean,
Yeah.
I threw out the bizarre idea to Mike. I said, are we experiencing some sort of like time slip where we're interacting with ourselves somehow?
And that was so cool. I mean, I thought, oh, I could really, really dig into
Oh God.
that theory,
It was really cool, and we got some responses through Mike's Spirit Box. Again, not the Spirit Box app. I know a lot of people have their thoughts about the differences between the two, but we got some apparently clear replies from the Spirit Box. I mean, it's really neat stuff, guys. Tons and tons of stuff. You want to listen to all the EVPs that we've captured throughout the years, going back to 2007. They're all over on the Patreon page. All of our ghost hunting stuff. It's pretty great. We would love to see you there. If you want to support the podcast, you like what we do here, you enjoy listening to it, no better way to support us than to try out Patreon. Again, no
a nice
obligations.
box of candy might be all right once in
Well, a
while
little
sent to
box of
my
candy.
house.
Yeah, a little box of candy.
And it doesn't even have to be a big one.
No.
Just like a small 6-piece sampler size or something. I don't know.
So, Mike, when I walked into that first building built in Fargo,
Yes.
I mean, we were feeling totally fine. We're walking outside and like, let's check out this house. I mean, literally the moment I stepped foot inside that house, my head felt weird.
Yeah. I walked in first, I believe, and I went
Yes,
to
you
the
did.
left a little bit. And then there's that post there. It was inside the door, but kind of, closer to the middle. But
yeah,
it's like you went right towards that post and you stopped like really close to it. And I was like, what are you doing? Because it was just weird. It looked weird.
like post.
But then you're like, you actually, I mean, you were obviously being affected by something. So explain that, what you were feeling. I mean,
I said,
it was bizarre.
It was bizarre. I still don't know it. I still have no idea.
More than once.
The whole time I was in there, basically.
Yeah.
And then the moment I walked out, I was fine. And I sincerely, I threw this out to Mike, and it's on the video. I say, Mike, I mean, does this have something to do with like the flooring here, the floors?
Right, like the funhouse effect.
The funhouse effect. But you go, well, that's a pretty far-fetched way of dismissing this one.
Yeah.
I was like, well,
I think you and your damn rationalizing crap in your head.
I don't know how to explain it. And the whole time I was in there, my head, it felt heavy. That's the best way I can explain it. My head I immediately felt like I had a head cold.
And this stuff doesn't happen to you.
No.
I've never seen this happen to you in any place that we've ever been.
I mean, there's been places where it's like, I can kind of feel it in my head, you know. I don't want to go as far as to say that I felt dizzy or anything like that, because I didn't feel dizzy.
This was a definite physical effect on you, though.
Yes.
I mean,
100%.
I could see it. Yeah.
Yep. I felt all I can say is my head felt super heavy, and I don't know why. And in that building, we caught a couple replies on your Spirit Box, Mike, and we got that on video and on audio. So there's something perhaps is in that flipping building. Is it a residual energy? Do you think that's kind of what we're leaning towards there? Is maybe it's something residual?
I think a lot of stuff that's in these places that are at places like this are a lot of residual. Yeah. I mean, it's stuff that carries on and stays with whatever object or building was carried in.
100%. Yeah. That's my catchphrase for today is 100%. I'm going to say that 9,000
But that doesn't mean there can't be an actual entity, intelligent spirit connected.
And you didn't feel weird at all when you walked in.
I felt absolutely nothing.
And you even went, and I think you pointed out that something to do with the post, because you said it seems like when you're walking towards the post.
Yeah, there was something about it. To me, it seemed, I mean, that's the first thing I thought of. It was like, it was in such a close proximity of that post that, I don't know, that's what I thought of right away, a connection there. But, it could have been just that spot in the house. Maybe 140 years ago, somebody had a heart attack and died there. You just never know.
You never know. You absolutely do not know.
Right in that same spot, I don't know.
I can say
you're
is
feeling like a leftover energy of a brain embolism that somebody had or something.
Good God. Hell,
that heavy feeling in your head. It's like,
wow, that's kind of mind blowing. Actually, when you said that, I know you're kind of saying it in a joking manner, but why not?
Joking but serious at the same time, because I mean, especially if you're sensitive you have any kind of a empathic feeling, whatever, that can come over you.
Like your phantom phone call, Mike, when you swore you
Still
heard
love that.
and
Yep.
the story of that woman attached to how she had a heart attack
Yep.
on the phone when she heard the
And never
sad
recovered,
news
yeah.
of her family member. Yeah.
Yep.
So you didn't feel anything in there. I did. And as I said, the moment we walked out, I was like, oh, okay, it's
Yeah.
lifted. I don't feel anything anymore.
Yeah.
So that's intriguing. I don't know how to
Yeah.
explain it. I really don't.
And it's not like you're feeling anything claustrophobic or anything, because there's,
Oh, hell no.
there's plenty of room in there. It was all lit up nice, comfortable.
I was comfortable in there. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was taking pictures. I loved the layout and just the look of it. And
Yeah, it kind of reminded you, had that feel of Little House on the Prairie house.
absolutely. You even mentioned
If-
that.
If you would have pictured a fireplace just below where the loft was, because there's a loft up there like Little House on the Prairie, but
Yep.
it didn't have that fireplace there.
Right.
So, yeah, it was pretty cool.
Yep.
Just one of the many awesome buildings there.
So then we made our way to the church.
Yeah,
Now,
the church has some pretty neat backstories.
Yeah, talk to us about the backstory of that church briefly.
It's not the original church that they had brought in. The one that they originally had, I can't remember what town it was from, but very old country church. That burned down years ago. And I can't remember if it was somebody had gotten in there and said it or whatever, but
That'd be
so
awful if that's the case.
yeah, but it's Fargo's getting worse all the time.
Awful things happen,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
But anyway, yeah. So this church, I think it was from the town of Christine, which is not far from here. Actually, you get to the interstate and down, but
That's actually on the way to Fort Abercrombie, I believe.
Christine is absolutely, yeah. Well, actually, that's the turn that we take to go to Fort Abercrombie.
is.
The Christine exit.
Yep.
But anyway, so they moved this church in to replace the old one. A beautiful country church. I mean, absolutely gorgeous in there.
Loved it.
And you'll see all of that on the video footage. It's just gorgeous. We really tried to highlight that stuff.
Yeah.
But so they moved this in, and the workmen over the weeks, whatever, setting it up, getting it on the foundation, getting it all ready for tourists, whatever. They started having issues being there, especially when it got closer to evening time. I guess they did have people working at night, trying to get this all done and set up. The workmen started to refuse to work at nighttime. They didn't like it there. They said there is something wrong there. There's something there. They said that somebody said that they'd seen a little girl there, the ghost of a little girl. So that's the story about that church, is that supposedly there's a little girl there. People experience things, and
You wonder if
it's just
there's
a
some
hot
sort of.
spot.
You wonder if that's. You wonder. Okay, for argument's sake, let's say that, unfortunately, the original church burned down due to arson.
Sure.
Okay. Now, could that potentially conjure up some, I don't want to say negative sort of force, but could that maybe spark some activity there if it was,
Kind of that
burned
negative
down?
energy of,
Yeah. That's,
yeah.
I don't like thinking of it being a negative energy. I
right.
didn't feel it at all when I went into the church. I didn't feel anything
Oh,
negative.
no, there is no negative energy feeling there at all. Luckily, this time we were able to get down into the basement, which of course was new. I mean,
but
it was a foundation they had to build to put the old church on. But
I mentioned this, Mike, when we were there. I don't know if it'd be possible, but I said when we were there, I said, I want to do an overnight in this church. We have the perfect setup downstairs here. I want to stay here all night.
yeah,
Is it possible? Do you think that'd be possible if we contacted
know.
the Bonanzaville, I don't know, proprietors,
all
the
that can
owners?
be done is to try. I mean, I'm sure our friend Audrey and her Fargo Paranormal group. have
Hello,
maybe
shout
checked
out.
into that.
Oh my gosh, Mike, you need to send me their contact info again because
Yes,
I keep
she is
forgetting to do
awesome
that.
too. You'll be able to talked to her, and very easy to talk to. And like I said, she's invited us with their team to go to some extremely awesome historical haunted places.
Why haven't we done that yet?
I don't know. We just haven't touched base with them again, but they definitely did put the invitation out. But
so when we were down in the basement, though, we stayed down there briefly because we wanted to get back up into the actual church area. Now, it was interesting because on the way up the steps, I comment on the video and on audio, obviously. You literally feel the heat and the warmth the moment you make that turn going back up the steps. You remember that?
right. Yeah.
And I mentioned that. You hear me mention that. It's like, oh, God, you just feel that old musty heat.
Mhm.
And Mike immediately turns around to me and he goes like, I just heard a voice.
Yeah,
And
I thought somebody came in, a tourist, while we were down in the basement.
you actually thought someone was in the building at that point.
Exactly. I thought somebody had come in, and that's what I thought
Now,
I was
what did-
hearing.
Briefly, what did you hear again?
Well, as we came up out of the stairwell, there's the entryway of the church, kind of a fairly good sized entryway, and then there's a wall that you have to go around to get actually into the church. Well, we were still behind that wall, so I couldn't see in the church. But from in the church, I heard a woman, a voice, and it just kind of made like a sighing sound, like. And now I don't know if you listened or if you found if that was caught on the
It was
video.
not. Nope, it wasn't caught on video or on the audio on the digital recorder, which is
Okay, well,
disappointing. But it's also it adds a little weirdness to it.
It does happen. That does happen. But yeah, I distinctly heard it. I heard it clearly enough to where like you said, I stopped and I said, I think somebody's up, or I heard a woman's voice, whatever.
Yeah, you actually turned around and walked towards me because you were like,
Yeah.
I think someone, or I thought someone was here.
Yeah. And then I went into the church, and of course there's nobody there, but it was so audible and clear to me. And it's definitely a female. And you were back further. So I don't know if you would have heard it. I would imagine that you would have, because it was so clear, and it wasn't.
I didn't
like,
hear
soft.
anything though. I mean, obviously I didn't hear anything.
Definitely.
I was probably about at that point, not even 8 feet behind you when you turned around.
Right. Yeah, that'd be about right.
This thought just popped in my head too. Not to go astray a bit, but
Oh,
I have
okay.
heard a lot of, cynics, a lot of their arguments towards EVP work and stuff. And they say, why is everything always in English? Why wouldn't it be any number of
That's
other
not true.
languages? Right. It's like, why wouldn't it be any other? And it's absolutely not true. And it made me start thinking, it's like, okay, shocking. I'm not an expert linguist. I don't speak multiple languages. Who's
There
to
are
know that
times
we?
when he likes to pretend that he is.
Yeah, crepes. I took 3 years of German and I don't remember any of it. Basically,
Yeah, that would be me.
But who's to say that we haven't captured EVPs, Mike, that we just simply don't recognize, that we do not distinguish as a language,
That's right.
And then all the stuff that we have captured, well, it makes sense for it to be in English. That's just a simple answer for it.
Exactly.
So I wanted to throw that
Why
out
can't
there.
it be an entity that is an intelligent entity that might be German or something, but has the ability to communicate with the person that is there?
Right.
No matter what language they.
Mhm.
I mean, ghosts can walk through walls. Why can't they know a different language?
Hell yeah. I was just going to say, we're talking about a whole other existence here.
Exactly.
Where
The
physics
existence that
doesn't matter, basically,
Yeah. Well, there is no physics to it. There can't be.
Yeah.
Not the physics that we know.
Thank you for saying that. Yeah, the physics that
You know.
we recognize, that's people are paid highly for, super, highly intelligent people who know far more than we can ever dream of knowing.
And that's rocket science.
It's beyond their scope in a lot of ways. So, it was really intriguing because I wish I could explain the look on Mike's face when he turned around, because I could tell that he was like, I think someone's here. I thought someone's here. It's just that look in your eyes.
Yeah. Well, what's to
And those type
Lynn
of
Ward.
experiences, as much as you accuse me of doing that because it's true a lot
Yeah.
of times, you can't dismiss those. That's something, isn't it?
And exactly. And to lend more credence to this, I know I don't want to get into any pathetic stories about myself because I do that too often on episodes. But I had the feeling when I heard that voice, like I did.
Well, what Mike actually first heard when he walked around the corner, just because it felt sympathetic and empathetic for Mike. And the moment he walked around that corner, not the dog bark.
Damn body's falling apart.
There you go. Sorry, the dog walked over my joke there, but that's okay. Yeah.
But that's true.
This is Mike walking
Another
through.
Reason I'm going in to see the doctor.
This is Mike walking through Fort Abercrombie.
My whole goddamn body's falling apart.
Like, Mike, are you feeling okay? Mike, you feeling okay? You feeling okay, Mike?
No.
Okay. Well, Igor spoke for you. Anyways, go ahead.
It's a new where I was going.
It's a new soundboard here, so I'm not as quick on the draws. I'll get better.
Yeah, but he's missed his soundboard so much he's got to play with this one. But actually, I was going to say that the feeling that I got.
Oop, Mike's coughing. He's going into convulsions. Are you okay, Mike? Are you coming back to us?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
The feeling I got was a feeling that I used to get when I was at one of my very low points in life, living in the barracks. And I would leave my room where I had my own room. I was a sergeant in the room with privileges, I guess. Didn't have a roommate. But anyway,
listen to you.
I would walk down the hall to go to the day room, they call it, where the TV is. And
can I start calling you Sergeant Carbonell?
Hey, yeah, you could call me the grill sergeant.
The grill?
Yeah.
Hey,
anyway,
that's perfect. I'm writing that down. Okay, go ahead.
They called me Sarge at times, but anyway, I was at such a bad low point that when I'd walk down the hall, I'd be going in to see if anything was on TV in the day room or whatever, or go to use the microwave, whatever. And if I'd hear somebody in there, somebody laughing or having a good time, I would turn around and I wouldn't even go in there because I would just feel like, I don't want to have anything to do with people. And I'm too, I had no intentions of wanting to be around people. I mean, I want to hide more than anything. So that's kind of the feeling I got, only not to that extent. It's like, I had a feeling I shouldn't go in there, or that I can't go in there and I associated that with how I felt years ago, where I don't want to be where people are.
Interesting.
So I had this feeling of like, that's why I turned around and had that look on my face. Because that's how it hit me.
Like, did you almost, okay. Do you feel like I'm in a place that I shouldn't be type thing,
No, it was like that old feeling of there's people in there.
Did you feel like you were intruding,
or they wouldn't want me in there anyway, kind of thing? That's how my pathetic feeling was. And they don't. So I would just rather hide by myself.
That's really interesting.
And so not, like I said, not to that extent, but it reminded me of that because it's like I automatically turned around and I had that look on my face and I said, yeah. I think there's somebody in there.
Yep.
So it wasn't a strong feeling like it was when it actually would happen to me years ago, but it was on that same level of feeling.
That's really interesting. I can tell that you've pondered over this since
I have. It's because you
experienced it.
It was just the experience itself was awesome, but then to have that feeling come across where it reminds you of a certain time and that you shouldn't go in there.
No, and it's important to point out too. I think it's important that in the church was the first time when we fired up the spirit box, the first time, which will segue into the next story, the first time Mike had to shut everything down and wanted to hightail it out of there because you started getting just unbelievably warm and uncomfortable.
Yes.
So what the hell was that all about?
Well, I don't know. It was like I was going to start doing some.
And this is no joke, everybody. I mean, we were in the middle of doing stuff, and Mike's like, I got to get out of here because he's just so hot.
I was setting up I don't know if it was it the spirit box? I was going to set that up and start going or something.
Yep, absolutely.
And it's like, I got it going instead of standing there and listening to it. It's like as soon as I had it on, I was shutting it down because I had to leave.
Yeah, and you were sitting in a pew at this point.
And I was I just overwhelmed with like being hot and sweaty.
That was just weird.
Ugh.
I mean, it wasn't warm in there anyways. I mean, it wasn't uncomfortable.
I was extremely uncomfortable. And of course I went outside and I was fine. I mean, there was a nice breeze, so it cooled me down right away,
and it came on fast. That's the thing.
Bang. Yeah.
And as I said, it'll segue into the next story because the same thing happened to you in the courthouse. And
it did, exactly. Yeah.
And I got you on video on that one, and that's posted on Patreon page. And I joke again. I say, "Oh, Mike's hightailing it out here," and I was like, "Holy shit, he really is!" Because you were heading towards the door.
It was a courthouse where that hit me, where I started and I had to quit and just go. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, in both places, when you're sitting in the pew in the church is the first time.
It's just like all of a sudden, I was trying to just deal with, and all of a sudden, nope, it was just done, and I had to be gone.
Now,
I don't know.
Just for discussion's sake, is there any paranormal connection to that? To experiencing that unbelievably fast onset of warmth?
There very well could be. I think any physical reaction can be caused by a paranormal event or activity. It's just how your body handles it or deals with it, or how it gets affected.
This was Mike's initial reaction, actually caught on video when he was hightailing it out of the courthouse.
I don't know.
Wrong button. It was this one. There we go. I'm getting a handle on this. The soundboard actually moved. I moved it on accident there, so I hit the wrong one. So again, I'll try that again. This was Mike when the moment he sat down in that church pew. Yeah, there we go. Okay.
I think that's the sound I was making as I was walking out the door too.
Exactly, over and over looking for that door.
All of a sudden, I'm down on both knees, crawling on my knees and down on my hands and knees, and then as I get to the door, I'm just collapsed on my stomach, flat on the floor, like a melting puddle.
Like, Mike, what the hell?
Steam coming up.
Mike, explain to me what the hell is wrong.
My old goddamn body's falling apart.
There we go. Okay, yeah. I'm getting the timing down a little bit better.
Don't get me started on that too, now.
So we make our way. Well, any final thoughts on the church? By the way, it was beautiful. I love the design.
That's what I was saying.
We took pictures of us in the pulpit.
Oh yeah, like we were preaching.
Preaching
sacrilege
to the masses. And I made it clear, my Catholic guilt comes forth at all times. It seems I'm like, we're not making fun of anybody.
Yeah, he felt pretty bad. But just talking about the beauty of the church, the woodwork, and that
chair, the original chair that the priest.
Oh, that's when
in.
I was talking. Is that the vicar chair?
Yes.
Is the vicar sitting there?
And I didn't get what the hell you were talking about for the longest time because it just went right over my head.
That's what it looked like. It was just kind of opulent.
A great
carved chair.
I love the word opulent. I mean, it was the moment you walk in.
Back there was opulent.
Yeah. I posted pictures of the church on several pictures on Patreon if you want to go check it out, by the way. Just gorgeous design. So then we made our way, Mike, out to a couple other buildings, but I want to head to the courthouse because that's where we got that EVP. Well, we think it's potentially an EVP.
Right.
Again, the history in that place.
And these are like three buildings in a row that were catching this stuff.
Exactly.
Right next to each other.
Exactly. How do we want to start with this one? Again, just gorgeous layout in the court. I loved being in there.
Yeah, you walk in there and you get that smell of musty, and then in the back room, you go into the back room and it's just like a short hallway, but just loaded with antique law books. And you go in there and you smell that. You smell those old books, and just amazing, and just tons of them.
And and they had up in the judge's desk up there, they had like a box on the ground filled with torn up law book pages,
Yeah.
Because these are old original books. They have some on display on the table, I believe, and Mike commented because the leaves were all falling apart in the book, the pages, I should say.
Yeah.
But we're very delicately handled by you and I. Just briefly kind of looked through them. Mike shared a brief story about how his grandmother was a petty thief at one point.
At Bonanzaville back in the 70s. Oh, that was crazy. I remember that.
So, at one point, okay, you mentioned the law books. I'm back there. You had fired up the spirit box, maybe for the second time. That might have been the first time. I'm not sure. And I'm filming. And I'm back there looking at the law books. I can hear you in the spirit box, and I'd say not even 30 seconds. All of a sudden, I don't hear the spirit box anymore, and I'm like, okay, did it shut down on its own? What's happening? And you're looking at me. I'm filming you. And I said, why is the spirit box not going? And you're like going, huh? And you kind of had a dazed look on your face, Mike. And I said, why did you stop the spirit box? And you go, weren't we doing it for an hour? And I'm like, what?
Did I really say that?
Yes.
I do not remember. What the hell happened?
Mike, you seemed out of it. You seemed kind of.
This is new to me.
You seemed kind of out of it. Because I was like,
well,
why did you? Why did you? But
daily,
but well, I'm not referencing your daily dilemmas here.
Okay.
But you shut down the spirit box, and I'm actually I caught myself on camera because I say like, are you okay? Because I'm concerned. I'm walking towards you and I started filming you again. And I asked you, I said, why did you stop? And you said, weren't we doing it for an hour? I said, what? No, about like 20 seconds.
Where was I standing at that time?
Right at the table. Not, the
that big, huge table where
the main one in the floor.
And then the prosecutors and the lawyers would sit.
Yep.
In front of the judge's chair. Okay.
And then that's when I'm kind of talking. I'm trying to figure out what the hell's going on. And then I say, holy shit, Mike, he's really hightailing it out of here because you were bolting towards the door. And so
that happened before the heat thing sent me out. Is that around that same time, or?
It was the same time, I would say. Because
Okay.
you were having those experiences again.
Wow.
And made your way out. And but then you stopped and you turned around, and that's when you shared your story about your grandma being a petty thief. And I was kind of looking through some of the drawers as well on that table, and then we left. But it was before all of this, like right before I started filming, is when on the digital recorder we picked up that potential EVP.
Yeah.
And it's frustrating to me, Mike, because I was like, oh, crap, I was filming all this. Maybe I can go watch this and see if we heard the same thing. Or either you and I are caught on camera mouthing those words. Well, guess what? I started recording basically about 5 or 10 seconds after that voice was picked up on the digital.
Yeah, it's like the orb we missed in the basement of that house.
Oh, gosh.
That we both saw with our own eyes.
Yep. And we both rushed towards the camera, hoping we got it. Well, no, it wasn't on.
But, that's a typical me thing during all that time.
But that is really bizarre, Mike, that you don't remember saying.
I don't. That is totally foreign to me. I need to hear that if you can send me that.
Well, yeah. Can you watch the Patreon stuff? Or do you not have access to that?
I still got to get re-signed up on it, which
don't worry about it. I'll send you the clip.
Okay.
And I'll send you like a condensed short version of it so I can send it to you, because Mike actually did film his own vlog for Patreon, but we're struggling to get it sent.
It said that it was too long, and if I wanted to send a portion of it. So when I do a vlog, I just need to keep it to a certain amount of time, shorter.
That's true. I mean, that's true, but I don't know why you can't send it to me in segments.
Well, I tried to do that, but I couldn't figure out how to do it.
We'll give it a shot again. You'll figure it out. We'll get it done because I want to get
Patrick's been after me for years to do this, and then when I finally do it, it's like, well, okay, I got it on my phone. I just can't get it to you.
And it hasn't been years, by the way, but
it was nice. It was nice, peaceful, early morning cemetery visit.
I know.
Having breakfast.
I have the title of the post already in my mind. It's like breakfast time with Mike ... in a cemetery. So,
Yeah, see, and I think it's kind of boring and quiet, but it's very peaceful.
I love it.
But yeah, hopefully we can get it worked out. And if not, I'll do another one and I'll do it shorter. But if I can do it in segments to send to you, that'd be perfect.
Any final thoughts on the courthouse experience, Mike, that you are
I'm
shocked by?
flabbergasted because I have no idea about this hour thing, and
that's weird. Yeah.
But I need to hear it so I can tell if I'll be able to hear if I'm joking or not, or if I'm. Or
That's the thing. That's the thing. You could very well have just been like joking, and you were making an excuse, or not
Exactly.
excuse, but you're saying I'm feeling really warm and I want to leave.
Right. So if I can hear that, I'll be able to know right away if
even if that's the case, it's still weird that you were experiencing these like basically hot flashes.
Yeah, it was. What was it? Am I feeling the outcome of a person that was convicted and electrocuted, or what?
Oh God.
Good
Lord. Yeah, they had all those awesome portraits of the judges who had served there, and I think the oldest one I found was 1873 to 1881, I believe. And it's like, holy crap, Ola. That's going back to, President Garfield's presidency. It's a very short, brief presidency, but still.
Dakota Territory. It wasn't North Dakota at that time.
So, now you mentioned cemeteries. We did visit that really beautiful, good-sized cemetery at the end of the outskirts of Enderlin. There,
right in my town here,
and we did. We fired up the Spirit Box app, and we think that we caught some interesting responses during our session there. Of course, it started raining the moment we started doing that. We found shelter underneath these two large trees, and we still forged forth.
I was enjoying that.
I believe I know some of the maybe potentially clear replies was when we were asking if they felt like they were stuck there.
Right.
And the replies were kind of sad, saying like, yes. And several of us basically, stuck. I mean, it's.
A lot of,
So, and also that bizarre, cool looking mini mausoleum that was in the far corner of the cemetery.
Yeah.
Man, that thing was cool.
Way back.
And we were in sadly, there's a portion of that cemetery that is dedicated to young kids,
children, babies, day old, 3 months old, young children.
So that was, briefly our experiences at Bonanzaville. We had it was awesome going to Fort Abercrombie. We didn't really experience anything when we were at Fort Abercrombie, except just enjoying it and feeling the energy, so to speak, and imagining what went down there. I did walk down what used to be the underground tunnel that went down to the river.
That's an interesting story there.
The tunnel itself is,
The tunnel itself, back in, when they called and I'm doing air quotes, Indian uprising. That when the people from the town of Abercrombie, they were taken into the fort for protection, and there is a tunnel that was dug from inside the fort down to the river, where they used to go so that you get water and be safe getting the water. But now at this point, it's all collapsed, so it's just like a very deep ditch,
right, that
you can walk down, and it takes you right down to the river. But you walk down there, and I was up doing some parabolic work, but. So I didn't see what it was down there, but
it was really cool. I liked walking down there. I tried to get as close as I could, but unfortunately, it got like dangerously muddy.
Yeah, it was very wet,
and that's no joke. I tried to walk up on a hill around it, and I couldn't only get up maybe 5-6 feet. I was going to slip and slide and fall down into mud, and I didn't want to do that. So
he came up out of that, and then he came up with those beetle boots he was wearing.
Oh
man,
they were
all full of mud.
That was. I still have mud on my boots. I can't get the dumb things off. But it's kind of cool. I'm like, that's Fort Abercrombie mud, so that's kind of cool.
Hey, take out some of that mud, you might find an arrowhead in it or something.
Well, I don't have that large of a chunk stuck on my boot still. Oh my God. But unfortunately, we got there. We couldn't go in any of the buildings because it isn't open yet. The season hasn't opened.
We missed it by like a week.
Yes, yeah.
But we'll get back there.
But I got some cool photos of the place. Go ahead, Mike.
I want us to get back there and actually talk to the people that. Oh, there's ladies that work in the visitor center there, and they got a museum in there, and I'm sure they know all the stories about the ghosts stories that have been seen there, and it'd be fun to talk to them, and maybe if we can get some permission from them to quote them on a show, or
that'd be great,
or even video a little bit, but
okay, we're over an hour here, Mike, but I have a bunch of stuff I want to get to here. Again, this is kind of our ghost adventure. So briefly, I want to talk about what has sparked us to do this podcast, basically. And it's a lifelong passion. We'll keep it as brief as we can. But we both had a passion and an interest in all things paranormal since we were kids. And Mike by experience and me by stories, and hearing alleged encounters from family members passed down, throughout the years. My grandpa's famous ghost story, all the creepy ass shit he experienced, sorry for the vulgarity there, that he experienced in my mom's aunt's house. And again, my grandpa was a no bullshit guy. And this is stories that remained with him throughout his life. And I still remember just being entranced by him telling me these stories. I can see myself sitting on their porch and he's telling me these ghost stories. And I'm like going, oh my God, Grandpa, this is terrifying. I mean, stuff about, the people who were staying there at the time, family members, when Grandpa was visiting when he was a kid, during the winter, hearing horses running around their house.
Yeah.
And then no footprints in the snow. I mean, what the hell's going on there? My mom's Aunt Idri washing dishes and hearing and turning around several times because every time she would face, I don't know if there's a window over the sink area, when she'd turn away, she would hear what she described as shears behind her going like shh, 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 like getting closer to her.
It wasn't getting closer to her.
No, it was. That's
oh my God.
Yeah,
I'd freak out.
several different creepy stories from that
and then
place.
watch parts of her hair start falling off.
Oh God. Oh man. And just other ghost stories that I would hear. I remember family members, unfortunately, family members had passed away in the house that I spent most of my life in growing up, the house in town there, Main Street house. My dad's dad passed away in there, and my dad's grandpa passed away in that house.
Jeez. Generations of deaths in that house.
And there have been stories of things going on there. I can't remember if it was my cousins or my brothers, probably both of them, who were doing I'm doing again, air quotes, seance in the house one time trying to contact people. And then one of my no-nonsense brothers tells me that when they asked the question, because they had a candle lit, say if there's a presence in the house, blow out the candle. And the candle went out. But then it came back on. That's the part that was bizarre. I vividly remember him telling me this. I'm like, what? Are you kidding me?
You can't fake that stuff unless you're David frickin' Copperfield.
There was... I don't know.
Jim Henson. No, not Jim Henson. Jim, who's that? It's an illusion.
Oh, shite, Mike. Oh, dang it. I can't think of his name.
Yeah. Doug Henning.
There you go.
It's an illusion.
There was, and again, this was a one-time fiance of my oldest brother. She claimed to have seen the spirit of my dad in the house. I don't know how much weight to add to that one. Yeah, I know. I mean, it's just a story.
You said so. That said
my oldest brother's then fiance. They were up visiting.
Okay.
And they slept downstairs in a living room because there's no available bedrooms because my mom had 795 kids. And when they're sleeping, she says when she woke up, she saw him walking from his bedroom out to the kitchen, which kind of makes sense a little bit because I've told this story before. My dad, when he knew he was sick, just to try and keep busy in the wintertime, he would walk around the house. He would walk laps just to try and keep physically active. That's
what she saw.
That's maybe, right? Maybe.
That could be a residual.
It would make sense, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
He's not a happy man at that time. He knows, he's got this fatal disease and he's trying his best to stay active. So maybe she did. Yeah. Maybe she saw it. Oh, many stories.
To this day, she's remembering that like it was yesterday and she's still telling that story. That's, it could be a thing like me when I was a kid. You got that story, you remember it and you tell that story still. Maybe she is. Who knows?
In stories that my mom does not lie. It's my mom, after my dad passed, she swears she felt him still laying down in the bed next to her at night.
And to this day with Nick.
Yeah, exactly. She
feels him there.
She still feels him.
Your mom is probably a very sensitive, empathic woman, I'm sure.
I think so. She has lots of really vivid dreams, I should say.
There you go. Yeah, that's part of it.
But long story short, too late. I get it. I mean, it's a lifelong passion. Mike's had experiences since he was a kid.
I got him falling out from places you don't want to have things like that fall out of.
But this is kind of a long-winded segue to our first days of quote-unquote ghost hunting, Mike. And those rediscovered videos, man, oh my gosh, they are just hilarious. And like I mentioned at the beginning, kind of cringeworthy, but they're awesome. When we were at the museum, I wish we have more footage. Maybe that SD card you discovered has some museum footage on there. I watched it all last night. It doesn't look like we captured anything on video for sure. I'll listen to it again. I don't think we captured any odd audio anomalies. It was like a 16-minute clip. I know we did a lot more filming than that.
Oh, yeah.
And then there's also stuff from your house. Their very, very active house. I think potentially there might be a couple of orbs spotted on camera that I think I was filming at the time. I didn't see them because I didn't mention them.
Well, that wouldn't surprise me because, I mean, when I lived there, one of my favorite stories to tell, and I remember like it was like it happened today, sitting in my easy chair and that ball of light, it had been the size like a ping pong ball, came up from the side of the chair up to my shoulder area, and it went down my arm, and then shot up into the air in front of me. I mean, I saw that with my own eyes. So any orbs on there does not surprise me.
There's also another one down in the basement when, God, again, I don't know who, I was filming at that time. I believe your ex had handed me the camera at that time, and I was filming an area. For whatever reason, we were just enamored with like this furnace because we thought someone saw a reflection on the furnace, and we were trying to debunk it and trying to figure out what caused it.
I remember that, yeah.
But when I'm filming like the little crawl area behind the furnace and stuff, I don't know what was in there. I mean, there might be an orb, it might be a bug, but it's very clear as day. It shoots up from the bottom of the screen, and then it kind of floats up, and then it goes choo, then it shoots off towards the right.
Really? Now that's odd.
Yes.
If it floats up and all of a sudden takes off.
That's the thing. It kind of floats a little bit and then jump. So I don't know if that's
the kind of thing you want to see when you're watching for UFOs.
Oh shit, yeah. So I'll have to get that clip too. I'll post that on Patreon for sure.
Yeah.
I'm sorry if it feels like we're rushing, but I kind of am right now because we went on and on and on. Well, I want to say one thing that's funny.
Patrick's going to give a shot at comedy here.
No.
Okay.
And this is no shot at you, Mike. It's no shot at anybody. Okay. Not a shot at us in general. But we're like enamored with our EMF detectors. And I don't think we truly understood how they worked for a while. Well, because at one point, again, no shout out to you, Mike. But you're like, God, you're testing things with the EMF, and you're like, God, this thing is it's going wild around this. It's going wild about this. And you're talking about your video camera. And then I believe the ex goes, the camera? That's just AA batteries. And you go, oh yeah, that shouldn't be happening. And we both do this. I did this a version of it in the courthouse, Mike, but I'm going to defend myself here because the video that I posted on there, this was right before you say, right after you say, weren't we just doing this for an hour? Well, I pan down and you have your EMF. No, it's not your EMF detector. Forget it. It's not the EMF. It's your K2.
Okay. Well,
okay. Anyways, forget that story. So, long story short, there it's just really humorous watching it. Mike, you were animated back in the day. Oh my gosh, you were just having a blast.
Yeah, that's when I could move. I was much younger.
I did write this down. We need to wrap this up. I'm sorry. I want your thoughts on this, Mike. I wrote down the question in pertaining to someone who is a cynic, someone who doesn't believe, a pseudo skeptic. Yes, I'm sticking to that term no matter what Dave Schrader says.
Yeah.
Does being a non-believer, that's not very good English, being a pseudo skeptic, being a cynic, being someone who doesn't believe that there is an afterlife, does that affect their own personal afterlife existence?
That's a good question. I think if somebody's a pseudo skeptic, and what, yeah, it's going to affect them in the afterlife because they're in for one hell of a surprise.
There you go.
You know, they'll figure it out, you know, or is it, or will it be like, they have it set so hardwired into their head, into their brain, that when they die, do they just blink out and there's nothing? It's black.
Oh man,
you know,
that's a great question.
or do they, like, are they taken into this light and have this huge, tremendous emotional
revelation, almost
revelation? That's the word I was looking for.
Yep.
and their whole, I mean, and that sets them up for their next existence if they're going to go have another existence.
Ooh.
You know, they come into this life having experienced the pseudo skepticism, having the total, you know, disbelief of all of that, coming into their next existence just preset for, ready to, you know, be part of the paranormal, be part of understanding it, and having the faith that it's real, you know.
I like that.
Maybe that's like the very beginning, the bottom level starting of a new soul. That pseudo skepticism.
Ooh, that's some deep thought there, Mike. I like that. Yeah, I can see, Mike. I think you like those thoughts as well.
Yeah, I love it when I pull stuff out of my butt and it makes great sense.
Gosh dang it, man. I feel like we didn't get to half the crap I wanted to talk to, but it's time to wrap up.
Yeah.
Thanks for making this work. I hope you guys enjoy. Let us know. Interact with us on social media. You know, reply to us. You know, it sounds like I'm begging, but it sounds pathetic.
Yeah. Well,
talk to us, please.
I'm not below begging a wee bit.
Igor, did I?
I need to be loved.
Igor, do you think people like me?
Anyway.
No.
Okay. How Christopher Walken? Do you think people enjoy interacting with us?
No, sorry.
I don't know.
Yeah. See, Mike's getting pretty good at that.
I ruined that.
This was by far the best EVP we captured at Bonanzaville.
Paste.
Nope, not that one. This is the best EVP we caught at Bonanzaville, and my thing just collapsed on me, so I can't even do that joke. So, yeah, sorry about that one, Mike. It was going to be It was going to be rip-roarious, hilarious.
Sure it would.
So.
I'd still be laughing and peeing myself.
Well, it's your famous, that one.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I don't do you justice. But again, if you want to support the podcast, give us a shot at Patreon for a month, no obligation. It'd be flipping awesome to see you guys there. Mike, in the meantime, my friend, thanks for making this work. What do our awesome paranormal fellow zoners need to do?
Please peace out.